here it's like, if you take top 2 in pools, you're guaranteed to Worlds.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, focusing on the match at hand right now, we have, as you can see, G1 versus Native Red. We have King of the Hill on Streets, Slayer Recharge, Oddball Live Fire, and then if necessary, we have Capture the Flag Aquarius, followed by Slayer Live Fire. Last time these two teams matched off against one another, Dave, it was a close matchup. I believe it was Native Red. Yes, it was Native Red. It was the Grunt Classic. Managed to pick up the win 3-2 in that upper bracket quarterfinal. And it just, every game, it literally went the distance between these two squads. You know, I think that when you look at Native Red, and by the way, in case you guys are watching Halo, again, you haven't watched in a little bit, Native Red, formerly known as Pioneers. So that's part of the reason why, you know, when you're making your predictions and you're seeing people put Native Red up there, it's because this is the former Pioneers lineup that have just been disgusting all throughout Infinite's lifespan.
Yeah, and also the true former Pioneers roster, because you have Manny back on the squad. Kind of like this, as Tony put, like this little honeymoon phase back at it. They like, you know, went off, did their own little dating on both sides and said, no, we belong together, and got back together. And I was going to make that sort of analogy with us. It's like, GV, I've cast with some other people.
We're back together, buddy.
I kind of miss you.
We should just do shoulder-to-shoulder pose. Screen grab it. All right, here we go, baby. First match of the Bravo stream, Streets, King of the Hill, to start things off here. I'm excited. Wait, actually, is it Streets King of the Hill? I just want to double check. Maybe I'm going crazy. Okay, there it is. I literally just read it. So that goes to show you. The cobwebs are definitely going to be shaken up here. All right, so everyone needs to bear with me for a little bit because it's been about like 5,000 days since I've commentated Halo last.
One thing that was interesting, I swung over towards the Pro Player Lounge right before this. I was watching G1. They were playing some against Cloud9, and G1 beat Cloud9 3-1 here on Streets King of the Hill. So they're practicing this game type, getting ready for their first series of the day. And look at that start there from Native Red. 3 members of G1 go down, make that all 4. All 4 down, all 4 up.
What a start. Native. What a start, man. That is exactly what you want to see out of the gate here. And now G1's going to be picking up the pieces as the control is going to be locked down over toward Arcade. And this is just a very tough one for them to break because of situations like that. You got to watch. You got to, like, what is it? Cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure you have everything covered. When you have rockets as well as the Bulldog, there's not really much you could do to try and break that setup. This is going to be a very, very clean game as far as like the progress made on this particular hill here. Well done, well done.
Yeah, at this point, G1 just needs to start getting a couple kills on the board. You start to see Bubu and Squallaye. They got a couple kills up, so at least they're starting to match some damage. But this hill is about all over at this point. It's kind of like, all right, Native are likely going to be able to close this first one out. It's going to be who now has control, setting up for the second hill over in C.
Yeah, this is actually a really great setup here right out of the gate. G1 certainly got a bit rattled there out of the gate. Not what you want to see here if you're a team that's coming into this event with so much hype. Manny, of course, has a lot to worry about over here, though, but a great break. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be 2 players who go down, giving G1 this big opportunity now to try and earn something. But no, just as I say that, SoulSnipe managed to get one against Squall, and this is where it's going to leave bubu to have to try and figure this out. Maybe wait for some teammates to get the kills here, or perhaps he can get the help right then and there.
Or just do it himself, yeah. I was going to say that was a bit of a blunder there from G1 as they got 2 opening kills there from Bubu, and then somehow 2 match kills in the favor of Native Red. Those plays should not be happening at this high level of play.
Yeah.
Generally, you get that 4v2 advantage, especially when you have them cornered into a spot like Subway or Tram. You collapse in, and you're able to at least trade those kills out. They should not get those for free.
Yeah, you can never allow that to happen. Otherwise, you're going to end up in situations kind of like what we're seeing right now, where Native Red, you know, they have managed to gain possession of the Rockets yet again. We saw what they did with this at the beginning of the game. It led to a significant gain on that Arcade Hill. So, of course, with these Rockets, you're really just going on the hunt here, just trying to find targets where you can, and a beautiful play by Druk gets him a double kill. I think he still has 1 more left in the chamber with those rocks, but as of right now, though, this is just going to be great control for Native as they try and regain this one.
Yeah, and what Native are doing such a good job of is pushing outside of C and taking up more ground and more real estate, taking over towards those rails near B, just making it so G1 has to fight for every little inch before they can even make a push into the hill. So it just makes it so much more difficult. Instead of being able to just traverse the map, G1 has to fight every single little corner, and anytime they lose one of the lives, That's one person down on the board, and then they're back on even footing.
This team is so well drilled on King of the Hill. I believe have not dropped a single King of the Hill game. They won all their games in the Grunt Classic. So you know that this squad, like, they come in there with so much preparation for KotH, but overall though, man, this has been beautiful to watch. If you enjoy seeing kind of just the way that Native are just flowing around this map, constantly putting G1 in a position where they don't really have any kind of comfort. You know, I mean, Druk's also going to be playing his life over here. He's got the support too. Everything is clicking here. Taulek coming from downtown with the shot. Now all they need is really just numbers to get on this hill.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, both sides had numbers here, but now it's going to be who get these slays. Basically, you saw G1 had control of PD, you saw Native had control of Cafe, and it's kind of an even-ish scenario or fight from there. Actually, I'm trying to think of which side I would prefer if you're in that standoff scenario.
Kind of like fighting on a Cafe, you know, because I think like with Cafe, you can also position yourself potentially get the Rockets here. Of course, as I say that though, Manny does manage to get the kill against Squallaye though. Bubu dubu exchanges one on the other side, and that is going to be another Rocket pickup, if I'm correct, for Native Red, allowing them, G1, no space to be able to get these vital power weapons. And Dave, this is just full control from Native.
Yeah, look at this. This is the second time we saw over when the hill was at Seaside, and now you're seeing it when the hill is over at A, that these Native Red members, they continue to push out towards B side. They just try to take up more ground. Notice how they do this every single time. They don't have just a static defensive setup to guard the hill. They're pushing out and finding fights earlier.
Yeah, and that I think is also just a vital thing as well, because it really catches your opponent off, you know, off their guard, right? You're gonna think to yourself, okay, this is where the engagement's gonna happen. Maybe it's gonna happen over at the elbow by the Cafe, or maybe it's gonna happen in PD. But like when you actually meet them at where they're pushing, there's not really much in the way for them to kind of respond.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can deal with something like that. One is you have to be aware that's happening, and you have to pick off those kills. You have to do it quick. You have to make sure that you punish that person for being overextended. So that's the real counter, is finding those kills early and then using that numbers advantage. But anytime it's a chaotic scenario and they're able to push off and find even fights, or, you know, flank somebody, that's where that strategy where Native Red is overextending or taking up more ground is really advantageous.
Yeah, well, the score is right now going to be 3-0 in favor of Native Red. As SoulSnipe picks up two. Manny with the Bulldog manages to secure himself another one. Some kills are starting to come through, though, but you can see two players down for G1. Good response, though, from Squallaye, sending that nade over here, right back over in the alley, preventing any kind of movement from happening. You're kind of forcing Druk to be in a really bad spot, as he's got two big grenades, too. He's going to take out Taulek as well as Druk, and that should give G1 a little bit of respite for the time being. But Dave, I mean, they're fighting for every single inch that they're getting in this.
Yeah, the only saving grace that G1 has at this moment is that there's still plenty of time on the clock. So you notice how Native Red, they're trying to close this one out by getting the fourth and final hill. That kind of works to their advantage.
Yeah.
Instead of this game slowing down, just turning into slays and letting the clock dwindle down, there's a lot of time on the clock for G1 if they're able to get the kills. But that's a big if. Right now, you see these players on Native Red putting up such big numbers. Druk dropping 16, Manny dropping 14. Pretty much every single member on Native Red going positive, sans SoulSnipe.
I mean, even seeing the way that they're supporting one another as well. I mean, that's the reason why the score is where it's at. While all that was going on as well, Native Red have managed to gain a significant amount of progress on that hill, but it is going to flip over to G1. Maybe this could be the opportunity G1's looking for. It's going to be an uphill climb without a doubt. I mean, you don't have a lot of time left to play with. You know that clock is going to stop, but still, it's just like for Native Red, all they really got to do is just continue to just add on to the pain, just as you're seeing right now. Three players were down just a second ago here, leaving Druk to just try and collect up these last few seconds, and boom, there it is. Native Red continue their dominance in King of the Hill as they wipe the floor with G1. 4-0 to start things off here in Orlando.
Yeah, that's an absolute statement there in that game number one. I mean, they're just looking like the dominant team here going into the series, and it's really hard to, you know, I think I was the only caster that had G1 in my top 4, and I felt like I had to just do it statistically, because I was like, all right, like, look at how they've done over these past events. Look at how they've done in the NA Super. And what I'm seeing right now, though, is making me almost regret that
here's
first
the thing,
prediction.
Though. Native Red is by far one of the best King of the Hill teams in this tournament. So when you start off with King of the Hill like that, there's really just not, like G1 knew that they were going into an uphill battle to begin with. And if they didn't, then they were joking themselves, because Native Red's whole King of the Hill gameplay is absurd. They didn't drop a single KotH game throughout, I think, the Grunt Classic. I mean, that's even against some of the top teams. So yeah, this was always going to be a tough one, but Native Red, they're going to get that, that little bit of a lead. They're going to feel good. They're going to start to, I guess, heat things up a little bit. And let's take a look at the series layout here. I promise I won't forget the game this time. We're going to be going to Slayer Recharge here. And again, another one where Native Red, I mean, they're a very strong Slayer squad as well. If you're looking at this series layout, really Oddball is going to be the opportunity where G1 can flip it, but I think they have to respond here on Recharge.
Agreed. Yeah, you need to try to tie this up right here, right now, if you can. But it's just tough. Yeah, that start on Streets, I don't care if it's King of the Hill or what it is, but regardless, they were just read like a book. Native Red just
from the start
able to get those. Yeah, when they go 4-0 off the start, get the first set of rockets, get the first Bulldog, they get first everything like that. You can't really chalk up to King of the Hill. It's just they just had a better starting strategy, and they were just winning their fights.
Yeah, and then also they were able to get rockets, like, I mean, pretty much every single time.
Yeah,
so you control one of and yeah, sure, it's you only have like 2 in the chamber. It's not gonna. It can sometimes be used up pretty quickly, but think about the progress that you gain in King of the Hill and how fast that meter grows, right? Like those 2 rockets could be everything,
Yeah.
So if you're controlling power weapons that much in the game, there's not really much you could do if you're G1.
No, that's a good point, because rockets, unlike many other power weapons in the game, it's generally who gets their hands on it first gets to use it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like old Halo where you had different rockets in the chamber and you can take out that player if they overextended, or if someone has sniper, it's like, yeah, sure, grab the sniper first, we'll kill you, and then we get the rest of the ammo. You can do work with that. It's like rockets, you can be real selfish. You can get rid of those real quick.
Yeah, well, folks, if you're just tuning in, by the way, Native Red walks away with the win 4-0 over G1 in our first game there on King of the Hill on Streets. I know it's not updated in the graphic, but it will be later on. Then we are going to be moving to Slayer Recharge. Did get word, though, from our production team that there was just an observer issue, so we're just making sure that the observer can get right back into the game so that we could jump into the action. But yeah, if you're looking at the series layout right now as it currently stands, G1 have a great opportunity still to come back into this game. It's going to be hard, don't get me wrong, but for Slayer, if G1 pick up the win, if they manage to, prevent guys like SoulSnipe, who are, honestly, I think are playing pretty hot right now, if they could stop players like SoulSnipe, get control of, like some of the core weapons on that map, right? The opposite of what happened to them on Streets. Then we go into Oddball, and I like G1's chances in this series because G1's a very good Oddball team.
Yeah, I think the bigger point to point out here in this series is going into Slayer Recharge gives G1 a chance just to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah.
That Streets King of the Hill was so incredibly fast. There was no time to think. I didn't even see what the overall game time was. If I had to guess, it was somewhere around like 6-7 minutes. It just went by so incredibly quick. But during that time, you didn't really get a chance, like, all right, slow it down, maybe do an individual fight, like, just get your bearings. And I think that's really going to play to G1's advantage, where they get to, like, all right, we can take a little breath, don't get to play this super fast-paced action that really benefited Native during that last series, or last game.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of good to take away from that game for Native Red because of just the sheer speed that they were fighting each other at. But here actually, some little comparison stats we got from the Grunt Classic here. Bubu Dubu, by the way, who has, I feel like, really reinvigorated himself on this G1 roster. You can definitely feel like he feels more at home and fits in. And then on the other side to that, obviously Taulek always has been an outstanding player, but I really do think Bubu Dubu is the one to focus on here because, interesting to say because he's still young, but he's kind of a veteran. He's been in this for a while now. Even back in the days when he was playing at the Halo World Championship with, Envy, I believe it was, for Worlds that one year. Like, he's had some good runs in his career, but I really do think this G1 roster, him being able to, like, find that home and establish it, he's really shined this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he's definitely on his footing there, and it's, these players go through interesting careers throughout their life cycle.
Yeah.
You know, you go through the cycle of like they're the young gun and like get their first chance, and then later on it's like, well, he's a very established name, but now he's teaming with people that aren't as established of names as himself, but they're just thriving, as we've seen thus far. And so it's a beautiful Oregon culture that, from what I've seen, at least on the outside, that G1's been building.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bubu's really kind of got his groove there. It felt like on FaZe, it felt like we like saw a unconfident bubu. It felt like it was an indecisive bubu. It's like, that's not a bubu dubu you want on your team. You want bubu to like be comfortable, make the decision that he knows he wants to make, and not question it. It felt like he was questioning every move previously when he was playing on FaZe.
Yeah, I think it's always hard too when you're playing with such strong personalities as well, right? That's always going to be the thing. But in this team, right, you know, he's coming in with a lot of people, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the way that G1 built their roster. You know, he's got a lot of players that are just really looking to him for guidance, but they all can kind of figure it out together. And I think that has kind of just been the story of this G1 team. Very excited to continue to see them in this tournament. That's why I feel like they are not out of this quite yet. I did get word, by the way, that the map is going to be starting up in a moment, so we will be jumping in to recharge Slayer as soon as that starts up. But yeah, man, you know, it's been a minute. You know, it's Gotta shake off the cobwebs for me, you know. I haven't had a chance to cast Halo.
You're gonna shake them off then next month. We're already going to Halloween, so you gotta put them back up.
You're gonna put them back on. That's the most dad joke ever. It was a hot dang, you know.
That's what we call a knee slapper, GB.
Oh yeah. I did get word, by the way, that we are gonna be restarting, and then we'll get back into it. So promise, we're gonna start the game. All right. Obviously, I would love to. I don't have chat up, so I can't look at you guys right now.
I could start the game right now, but I choose not to.
Yeah, actually, Dave does have the ability. He has the caster start the game button over at the side.
I'm not gonna hit it.
He's not gonna hit it.
He
just wants to chat some more.
Give me a minute.
You know, he just wants to reflect. Wants to talk more about Bubu Dubu.
Yeah, I want like that. You know, cameras on us for a minute. I don't get as much camera time since all the players get this highlights and the
we don't get
all
camera
the attention.
We
so
get no camera
I want
time.
a little more attention right now.
It's not fair. You know. I think we should start a movement for casters to just have more camera time than everyone else. You know, I'm sure that will totally go over with the entirety of our audience that are watching at home. Speaking of, by the way, if you are tuning in, don't forget, make sure you link your account so you can get some drops. That's right. I've got some pretty dope skins and stuff that you can win just by, you know, watching the stream and participating and having a good time. So make sure you link your Microsoft account alongside with your Twitch account, and you will be good to go. Did also get word, map is starting. Oh, thanks, Dave. He actually did. He hit the button. Look at that. I think it's going to start up in a moment here. Yeah. Any minute now.
I hit the game start button, so.
Yeah, there it is. We got the fly through. Oh, look at that. It worked. It was a little bit of a delayed button press, but, you know, it's okay. We'll fix it better in reversal next time. All right, here we go, folks. Game 2, Recharge Slayer. If you're just joining us, Native Red, formerly known as Pioneers, they're currently up 1-0 after a scathing, dominating performance on King of the Hill on Streets. But now we turn our attention here to Recharge for some Slayer action. And let's see if G1 can find a way to bounce back. And I think really it's going to start off with that right there. Getting the camo early on, getting you know, the power-ups as fast as you possibly can, so that this way you could try and establish a little bit of control here.
That was an interesting push and start there. You saw Bubu laying down those shots from elbow. It looked like one or two members either going straight to double stacks or bottom BR towards Mangler, and just like this instant offensive in a spot that you usually don't expect it. Usually you expect somebody to like swing wide near camo and somebody to swing wide over near the plasmas, near turbine, but like that was really interesting, like blitzer charge from G1 that paid off the start.
Yeah, paying off with them being up by 2 currently here, but it's not count out Native Red quite yet, as they're going to be able to secure themselves another kill. One player over by the elevator, trying to just dodge this one out. It's going to be SoulSnipe. Well done, but not going to be enough, though, as he does get cleaned up, and that is going to continue to push his lead ahead for G1 by 1. But I do like that Native Red, they're keeping this one as competitive as possible. Every single time someone gets a kill, there's going to be a response there by Native Red. They're not like, you know, running with their tail tucked between their legs. They're actually fighting this one out, and really the only part that I'm scared of is what's happening here. If they manage to get 1 more kill, 2 more kills, that's when you start to see that lead build up, Dave, and that is when I'm going to get concerned for Native Red.
Well, the game's already slowed down a little bit, and Shock Rifle is in the hands of Bubu Dubu, so right now G1's sitting comfortable. Like you said, they have a 3-kill lead. They're able to somehow pick off a kill all the way over at BR. Look at this all these members from Native Red are trying to force some action, make something happen.
Oh, good play there. He had Squallaye to back him up, Swish, so he just figured, let me go ahead and focus on this. They're putting a lot of damage in on these players, right? Like, it feels like at any point in time, you're seeing like 2 or 3 shots being sent over to a member of Native Red, and then they really are just kind of scrambling to try and stay alive, Native, when then G1 finds a healthy player to go and clean up that kill.
Look at that back and forth heads up there from Druk, just fighting over a glass, hearing a one-shot call out in your elevator, banking that grenade just perfectly to hit somebody if they're going up the stairs, or if they are running away from bottom elevator over towards turbine. So just a really well-placed nade there, I thought.
Oh man, way to get away from that one. That was a little bit of a sneaky grapple hook play there from Bubu Dubu. Well done. Does have the shock rifle again. Let's see what he can do with it though. He's going to try and reposition himself, but it's such a lead that has been developed here for G1. And they needed this bounce back. One shot, looking for a second, doesn't come though, as he does have a teammate to back him up. Someone's going to be pushing Dev up top. 2 players, as a matter of fact, here probably could get to work with this. Oh, snap with this shock rifle, but a big win is going to keep him alive inside of yellow.
And look at that, Bubu staying composed, not just instantly going in for the melee trade. I think that's still something we see at the highest level of play that could be more optimized. When in doubt, most players just kind of hit that melee.
Yeah.
When in doubt, like they melee it out or whatever you want to call it. But in short, it's like if you have that shot advantage, if you know that player's a little weaker, make sure you back up, just hit your headshot. I know sometimes it can be embarrassing, or sometimes you also get conditioned, especially online, to go for that melee trade, not knowing the distance where someone can lunge at.
Yeah.
But Bubu just played that so smart.
An intelligent play there by Bubu Dubu as he continues to stay alive inside of yellow, but he is going to be getting pressured from multiple angles here as the spawns are starting to come in from yellow as well. So Bubu should be getting cleaned up in a moment if he hasn't already been tagged and called out. But PreDevoNator is getting a bunch of kills, and actually Bubu's got to watch out because there should be a player on his flank as well. He's trying to stay alive, but Druk is going to clean him up here. But just look at this lead. A 10-kill lead has been built for G1 throughout that entire sequence. Really just doing the job, right? Being a nuisance, having to deal with him while also just getting picked off by the other G1 players. Devin is also crushing it this game.
Yeah, it felt like there was a lot of focus or tunnel vision over on the shock rifle player who was Bubu during those last exchanges. However, what was happening is every single time they charged towards Bubu, like you said, they're just getting shot in the side by Devin or Squallaye, and just every single time being punished for these pushes. And so it's a really difficult position to be in if you're a Native Red and the opposing team has that shock rifle.
Yeah, and I get it. You want to get that weapon out of their hands, you know, but that is where G1 just have found a way to really wrestle, not even wrestle, they have yanked this game away from Native Red, and Native Red's going to have to pull up some heroics if they want to get back into this. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but when you're down by 8 frags on recharge, it's going to be hard to try and find those kills from players who are going to be making those mistakes, because at this point now, G1, all they got to do really is just trade it out every single time, and they will win this game, no questions asked.
But this gap has closed a little bit, not significantly, but it is a big difference from being 10 or 11 down to 8. But sometimes you got to wonder, is it too little, too late? So now we're in a position where Native, not only do they got to slow these deaths down, we have to see them get shock rifle for the first time. We need to see them be able to slow it down, get some unanswered kills, because every single time we've seen Native pick up a kill, it's generally a trade.
Yeah.
They get a kill, they go down instantly.
Devin knows he's going to have a player right in front, though, and just really staying alive and pulling all of his attention over in his direction. 12 kills for him currently. This guy has been putting in the work here. So they know exactly where he is, and they can probably take this fight together, which would be the smart thing to do here, as they are getting some kills. So it's really just going to be Dev by himself. Taulek getting himself a few kills here, but look at the way he stays alive, and he gets a double. He's still alive inside of yellow. They really wanted to get rid of him in this area so that Native Red can get control of the map, but it does not work out. And now you have Camel coming up in a moment here. Dev is just moving wherever he wants. He's fragging out like a psychopath, looking for another one, and he gets to melee, and it works out in his favor. What a dominating game PreDevoNator has been having so far, Walshy.
Yeah, just so well played. A few notable moments there during that sequence. One was Devonator is not just looking down pipes the entire time. He does not have to have perfect vision down in an angle every single time to be the most effective. In fact, when he went over towards bat ledge, he was able to create an opening where the opponents felt like they could push a little further across into pipes, and that's where he's able to get that side flank, get that double kill, and do some damage. So it's not always about watching the furthest angle at all moments in time. You can sometimes use that as bait. Sometimes these players, especially the highest level play, they're going to say, all right, nobody here right now. Let's take advantage of this and let's push. They might not be watching it at this moment.
Yeah, well, it's going to be this 10-kill lead here for G1 that they managed to get back. Druk, of course, with that assist there, does manage to get some, does get the kill there and does get some help. As a matter of fact, though, we're actually going to be looking at Taulek's point of view. But despite all of that, though, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're really just trying to see if they can take advantage of the shock rifle, get possession of it, but they have to find the openings. But, you know, I think now you're at a point where if you're G1, you push because you can't lose. And there you have it, an incredible game there by G1. And it really came off of the back of a solid start and performance, consistent through and through from PreDevoNatoR, giving him so many openings to work with. G1 tie this one up 1-1.
Yeah, PreDevoNatoR absolutely stepped it up. I mean, we were seeing him put up those numbers without any of the power weapons or power-ups for the most part. You know, it's not like he had shock rifle and was just sitting back. Like, he was in the weeds. He was up on the front lines doing so much dirty work and so much damage.
Yeah, he was crushing it that whole game. And you could really tell, too, that like Native couldn't really quite get a read on like how they're going to try and stop him because, as you mentioned, right, he creates so many of these opportunities for them where you would not really think that you would find it, right, that maybe you could get exploited, like that one play on bat ledge. I think that right there was just a great example of how I knew that G1 can easily fight back into this game. And now they're back in it, and G1's oddball is stupendous. So Native Red is going to have a lot of work cut out for them here, but this one could very well go to 5 games. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes all the way.
You had a lot more faith than me, because after seeing that game number 1 where it's just such a dominating performance there from Native Red, I was like, this series might be a quick 3-0, but like you said, you did your research here, GB.
Did my research.
You did your research, and it paid off. You stiped for the test. You passed it so far.
Everyone's like, oh, you know, he was casting Valorant for a month. Oh yeah, that's right. GB does his research. You don't do this for a decade. Good God, I'm old.
All it takes is me just to create a few troll accounts on Twitter, just roasting GB, and then I get him invigorated for it.
That's all it takes, bro. Oh, man. All right, but we are going to be going to Oddball Live Fire. And also just an update as well. Some of the players going off, taking a bathroom break. You know, and for context, for those of you guys watching at home, the bathroom is about the same hike as Indiana Jones made in order to get the Crystal Skull. So, you know, it's a long walk. So we're going to be chatting for a little bit here. This time around, Dave does not have the start game button.
I have it. I just choose not to push it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, if you start the game, though, and then the player's in the bathroom, then we have to...
Then we continue.
Have to restart it anyway. You know, our producer Clayton said he turned off the button. So they had to take away the power from you, Dave. It's too much. But yes, looking at the score, though, 1-1, G1, right back in this.
Yeah, and I look at the rest of this layout. This game 3 is incredibly important, not for just any obvious reason of just winning a game, but you look at the series layout, and you do have 2 live fires within the same series, and generally you see a lot of consistency across these teams. If you're able to win on a specific map, you generally can do that same map, even though it's a different mode later on. So I feel whoever wins here on game number 3 has a really strong chance of winning game 5. And I know you've been predicting and talking about G1's oddball, so I know who you're going for on this one here, GB.
Well, you know, I mean, even like looking at, you know, again, the Grunt Classic, not a lot to really pull from there, but G1 does have a solid record overall on ball. So that's why I feel a little bit better about G1's chances here. But I agree with you that we're going to 5. Who wins? I have no idea. Because the last time these 2 teams played, we went to 5, and it was Native Red who picked up the win. And this was hot off the heels of, you know, G1's incredible performance at the Super. And, you know, it really, like, I think caught a lot of us off guard. So I think, you know, it just goes to show that these 2 teams, it always sounds super cliche to say, but they really are evenly matched because they're two squads that are kind of on the come up at the literal same time, and they're constantly going to be butting heads, which is really cool to see these squads like find their own in these tournaments, especially as we go into Worlds.
Yeah, another way I kind of break these squads down is I do always look at like what teams are better in chaotic situations versus more standard like setup situations, and it's really hard to kind of break down where I place Oddball Livefire on, because there are plenty of chaotic situations, but it's not as chaotic as something like Streets, where there's just so many small little areas you can slip away and run away and have those close quarter fights. Whereas Livefire is more of like these concentrated team pushes. And I mean, both these squads, as we highlighted, are great rosters together. You know, I don't view either of them not getting numbers advantage, just flying together. They know how to be fast when they need to be fast.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. And I feel like when it comes down to because you talk about the team pushes, I really do have to side a little bit more with Native on the way that they're able to coordinate on their pushes. I think the individuals in G1 make great plays and they play for each other incredibly well. But I think Native execute incredibly well as a squad. And if they are able to find that secret sauce here on Livefire Oddball and pull off this win against G1, then I have a way higher favorability for Native Red walking away with the win in this series, potentially even in 4, because I think that is something that potentially G1's looking for, that win that is going to put them over the edge in this series, right?
Yeah, G1 really needs to cement this here, because I do, when I look at Livefire Oddball and Aquarius CTF, I do view something like Aquarius CTF having more of that tendency or ability for someone like Native to just really have those squirrely plays. They get a kill, they run away, stay alive, like they hide in the corner, they catch someone off guard, like all sort of things that we see on the streets where they're just being a huge nuisance at all times to G1. I could see them replicating that on something like Aquarius.
It would be really exciting to see. You know, and wait no longer, because we are going to be jumping into the game here. Livefire Oddball could be pivotal for both of these squads. Depending, you know, again, I really do think it's a coin flip, but you got to favor, just a little bit, you got to favor G1 in this instance, because last time these two teams played against each other in Oddball, it was a G1 victory. So, you know, I'm going to give that nod, that slight nod to G1 for right now. But Native Red have plenty to prove here with the way that they coordinate as a squad. We're going to start things off here with the one, the only, the bubu dubu. Take all the dubus. Look at this push out of the gate already, Dave.
Why do we never see that? I feel like I never see that start where someone grabs repulsor and goes immediately up towards that bridge.
Yeah.
Like, both the pieces of that puzzle are right there. It's just like it just doesn't really happen. I guess generally you always see the engagements happen near the pillars, or somebody's at least peeking over that bridge. But looks like bubu taking advantage of that scenario, or just that understanding, and able to get over there, even though he wasn't able to secure any first kills there towards A, the damage was done.
Yeah, and they're also able to get that power up out of this as well. So a few kills as well for Swish and Dev, and they're looking for, and I think it makes a lot of sense to just take this ball over to tower side. You know, if you go over to the garage area, right? Yeah, you know, you can, it's a harder area to kind of push out of, but you can play the ball here on tower, and that's the reason why you want to bring the ball here.
Yeah, if you get the option of which side to bring it to, you want to put yourselves in a position where you can play ball. That's absolutely correct. Right there, they're also just trying to go for some information. They had the ball in the center saying, all right, we're going to push towards tower, see if we have a stronger foothold here. But the fact that PreDevoNatoR met so much resistance there, they didn't fully commit towards bringing that ball towards tower. And in essence, it's down here in the tunnel. And 20-point lead is good, but also for that kind of start, I felt like they could have maybe gathered a little bit more.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, you know, and I'm sure we could be a few hindsight Harrys here and evaluate it. But, you know, I mean, I think that it just goes without saying, right? These players are always combing over their gameplay, ensuring that they're doing everything right, especially with these two teams. Because these two squads here, yeah, I think of all the squads in Halo Infinite that we've had, the story of G1 and Pioneers, now Native Red, has been by far the most fascinating, just because, you know, these are guys that have been grinding grinding and going at it in H5 and MCC for so long, and now they find themselves in winning rosters, potentially doing top 4 performances. Like, these guys are on the up and up, and that's the reason why they're putting that much work in.
And also just rising together as a squad. I mean, we have examples of that early on in Halo 2, something like 5K, where there's like that whole squad rose together and then, you know, went their own separate ways and found success in many different forms. But yeah, I looked at that with something like Native Red, where they all were great players, desirable teammates, but they didn't really have any quote-unquote like superstar. You didn't have like that that name brand player on your team that's on the front of the
and even on the other side, you know, with like bubu dubu joining G1, right? Like, yeah, bubu dubu is a well-known player amongst the Halo community, but you know, obviously, like, he kind of came into it a little later. He was coming from FaZe, where he was teaming with Snipe down. So, you know, you would look at him and be like, oh, maybe bubu dubu is not a known quantity anymore. But no, then he comes on this G1 roster, and they just start putting up some results. Exactly what you want to see here. But back into the action at hand, it's a very close, tight game, as Native Red have been able to obtain possession of the ball. They're bringing this one back over to the green side of the map, which is another great area to hold the ball, because you can do just that. Play the ball, get rid of it there. Good support as well, as Druk helps out. Probably didn't even need to dump the ball there, but hey, sometimes you gotta play the ball.
Yeah, we see the game go through different phases where teams, you know, lean more towards not playing it versus playing it, and right there, better safe than sorry, but it was an unnecessary time, unfortunately. Yeah. It was a time where...
It was an unfortunate time, rather.
Yeah, unfortunate time, and obviously didn't know he was going to get fully saved by that sniper rifle and put himself in a weird position like that, but... you know, with these hindsight Harrys, me and GB, we can say, hey, in that situation, shouldn't have played the ball.
Yeah, you know, you probably should have played the ball over there. You know, it's just find me hindsight Harry on Reddit.
Yeah, but let's see now as we take stock of where we are currently. Still going to be a very close matchup, very close as far as the points go here. Squallaye trying to hunt down this player down low. Does identify. Doesn't get the kill quite yet, though, because you would have seen that assist come through. There he is, actually. And yet, Squallaye's always going to get his man. Druk is going to go down, though, but Taulek with the response right away. Devin on the prowl. He's going to have to deal with this heat wave, but the heat wave is too good for Manny. Thankfully, Swish is there for the help. Swish looking for a double, and he gets it, but no triple for him. Bubu Dubu's coming in with the assist, though, and a great play by Native to take that fight together. They have possession of the ball, but you're in this area in the back of the map where it is a real tough area to fight out of, especially with those tunnels. You're going to just get peppered with nades.
Yeah, and it's going to be who comes out ahead in those kills, like you said before, Golden Boy. You don't have the option in the garage to play ball, so you need to get those kills. Otherwise, that team's just going to say, thank you for the kill, thank you for the ball. We're going to rack up time with the setup.
Ooh, nice shot with the heat wave there by Manny. Did manage to take out Squallaye there from the distance. Gotta love it when you see the heat wave used like that. But G1, as you heard from the announcer, halfway to victory there. The push is starting to come through for Native Red as they've isolated bubu dubu over by pillars. Ball's going to be available by dummies, and they got two players looking to fight up front. Druk doing his best job to stay alive, though. Squallaye needs to win this fight, though. This is going to be a big fight. I believe that's going to be Druk down low, and Squallaye does go down, so Native Red continue to maintain control here, but not if bubu dubu has anything to say about it. Big damage being applied. Manages to get the help there by Devin, and all that being said, they still managed to stop that ball, Dave.
That was so huge by Bubu right there. Not only, like you said, getting the kill and staying alive, but also getting that finish from the ball rotating. That could have been a massive amount of time acquired from them. And look at this, even getting greedy there by Bubu. Decides not to activate this OS just yet, wants to find out where these opponents are, and then go into super mode.
Yep, he got the call. He knows where they are. They're by tower. They're by dummies. So he's going to go in for the push. Just try and pull enough of the attention as he can in the middle of the map toward where he is here. Forcing the green gun to have to be used. Doesn't get the kill, though. That is going to be super unfortunate, though. Swish, he's actually been fantastic in this series. 17 currently as he's putting it up, though. But Druk with the response is going to get the kill on his own. That's a double for him. And the ball possession for Native Red. But you're going to be in a real bad spot, though, right? Because you're all the way in kind of like no man's land. You have no real area to play the ball, so you kind of have no choice but to slay it out.
Yeah, and this fight over in Garage is going to decide so much because it's going to decide this next full ball setup. I actually want to hear what the comms look like for G1, so let's go to an Astro listening with G1.
Nice, good kill. Stay alive, slay.
I'm on it. Bottom in on me.
15 seconds. Me rat.
Nothing right. Yeah, right.
Rat killed me. Rat into A.
I got killed from A flat. A flat pushing you just like 2 A flat.
I'm coming big.
Take your time. Take your
9
time.
seconds.
Fuck behind me.
Run around.
Keep living. Keep living.
Yeah, we're spawning B.
I'm going A flat.
Going nest.
There might be a guy now.
Go down.
Tower weak, Druk. You guys see flat.
Oh, one shot.
Well, we.
Pretty cuts. One shot cuts.
One shot top
Yeah,
mid.
no one tires.
4 seconds. 3 seconds.
Weak, see flat.
On ball now. 2.
We gotta kill him. Gotta kill him.
See flat. See flat. Meteor, right? Does she?
Yeah, drop it.
We're good. We're good.
Oh man, and Native Red managed to get the first round in Oddball here, and that was just an unfortunate situation, right? All they really needed to do, get a few points, and then that's it. You're off to the races. Native Red managed to just catch G1. They were so close, Dave.
Yeah, that was a bit deflating. That was just such a good play at the end, getting the kills, rotating that out. But we were talking about it. It can be so dangerous having that ball near the garage because it's one of those situations where it's almost guaranteed someone's going to acquire a lot of time because you require all those kills and then you generally spawn the opposing team across the map. And so it's just a double-edged sword. It's like, all right, you get all the good things or all the bad things. Which one's going to be based on these kills?
Yep, well, it seems like right now for Native Red, they're getting all the good things. They got the heat wave, they have the overshield, and now we're going to have ourselves another Astro listening this time around with Native Red.
Yeah, one's already. That's. I'm flanking them.
Yeah, we're playing 3-1. We're playing 3-1. One shot dice. 2 dice.
Another weak.
Druk 2.
Where's the hunter?
Top tower, Manny. Top tower, Manny.
Who is it? Who is it?
Tower and
Alright, that's guy was one. Yeah.
Spawn screens. They're gonna bring it small door, okay? They're all spawning small door. Alright, spawn small door, you guys.
I'm nading A. There's 2 nades. 2 nades. I'm down. 2 1 shot nade. 1 shot right side.
Alright, push this.
2 right side. 2 right side.
Hunter, I'm coming.
Hunter, guys.
One more nade.
Yeah,
Aim ball.
He was down Peter.
One is water.
Live.
Can you help me?
Yeah,
We're going front.
They can spawn dummies maybe. One spawn dummies. Take ball in A.
Okay, there's a heat wave down fucking top mid.
Yeah, back tower.
30
I'm
seconds.
fighting spawners. One shot back tower and one's on Ovi
I'm
already.
bringing a green, guys.
Yo, one's going dummy door, one's on Ovi, and one's top mid.
Alright.
Bringing a green, guys. Bringing green.
20 seconds.
We got top mid of me.
Gonna come at someone.
I hear you, Rat.
Keep doing 100. Keep rotating.
I mean, it's looking in the A spot.
We green.
We come in, Devin.
I'm dead.
Come in, Devin.
I got one.
Yeah, sounds fucking. It played it.
Nice, it played. Let's go.
10 seconds.
Yo,
10
one's
seconds.
going, there's 2 on Ovi, 2 screens.
We can just fight.
All we need is Obi. All of us.
Play away. Dummy door.
I have shields, dummy door, and this guy on cuts already.
We should contest ball.
I'm
Just
done.
drop on it.
I have shields, dummy door. It was half
I'm
shields,
baiting it.
dummy door.
1 hit.
Oh, it's coming.
Nice, guys.
Another guy, Dubitor.
I got beat down on Ovi.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm already nice, man.
Dubitor, weak guys.
They're gonna take ball dummy. They're gonna take ball round.
2 bottom mid guys. 1 has Obi.
Yeah, I'm already tower, guys. I'm already tower first.
3 rat.
Yeah.
Fantastic listening there with Native Red. And even though they're going to be down in this one, they were down in the last round as well, Walshy. But you could really see it's just the coordination of this squad, right? The way that they're playing for each other, they're baiting as well as much as they possibly can to try and see if they can get the progress where it's available. I mean, I really like what I heard in that listening.
Yeah, listening was good, but then also just that clutch amount of plays where like they had all 4 down, they had 3 of them down. Their last person was able to take the ball, carrier out. They got to a play ball. They all got on the same page when they said, all right, when we come back, let's fight for this OS. Even though it was not successful getting that OS after they spawned, you just notice how they're playing as an entire team. They go into the plan, and yes, it's not going to work 10 out of 10 times, but the fact that they're all on the same page, you see how well they coordinate, that is what you should be doing if you yourself at home, who is a listener, are looking to improve in this game. Try to get on the same page with your teammates. You're going to be much more successful doing something as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, indeed you will. And also, I mean, you'll be very successful if you're also shooting the way that Druk is shooting here, man. This guy does not seem to be missing at all. And even though members of G1 do manage to try and find some response there, Squallaye and Druk are going to go for the trade here. Let's see how they're going to try and respond out of this, because he kind of got the ball in a very similar position as it was in that last round, right? Back in the corner. It's a tough area to fight in when you're inside a house like this, because there's no real area for you to try and maneuver, but a beautiful shot there from Manny. Now looking to see if he can go and support his teammate. He knows that the push is going to start to come in here. He still has the sniper. Clean shots with the BR, and a big win as him and Taulek are going to clean up the players that were challenging their house.
And those are such huge kills there for Native Red. Now, one thing I happen to be noticing here, at least during these last couple exchanges, it feels like when Native Red have been getting outslayed, G1 haven't been acquired as much ball time. They haven't been getting like these strong sevs. They haven't been getting 20, 30 unanswered seconds. Whereas Native Red, as soon as they start scrapping up some of these kills, look at this. They got the control of the garage. They held the ball there. They now rotated on over towards tower to get ready for a play ball. They're even considering going back over towards garage, just in control of the oddball and having a plan of where to take it.
Yeah, you know what? I happen to agree with you there, man, because also another thing that I'm noticing too is like they're not quite sure when they want to go to tower. They're not quite sure when they want to go over to house, but it's okay because they keep this fight going at no man's land here, and it's just working out for Native. They could very well walk away with the dub right here, right now, as they got the ball inside of the house. They need players to challenge this one. SoulSnipe, is he staying alive? He's over inside of the garage door. He's still alive. They have to push this. They have no time to waste here, or else this oddball game is going to go to Native here. The ball has not been picked up quite yet, but Manny's going to be able to pick up a double. Taulek's there for the kill as well, and the cleanup in aisle 3, but it's not going to matter because there's only one more point to gain, and it is going to be Native Red who walks away with the oddball win 2-0 against G1, and I think this series has just gotten wide open here, Dave.
Yeah, you called for a cleanup in aisle 3, and Native Red brought you a sweep in game number 3, closing that one out 2-0. That was just such a clinical, it's such a great demonstration of bringing that ball back and forth. Not once did they commit to the rotation forcefully. They didn't say, all right, well, we're going towards tower. Let's force it towards tower. Instead, they kept going to this back and forth area, and they've decided that they were going to make G1 perfectly distribute across the map. If G1 overcommitted towards tower, they bring it towards garage. If G1 spreads out evenly, they bring the ball towards where they're winning the fights. These give themselves so many options and opportunities of where to take that.
Because
so it's just so well played there by Native.
Even when you get pushed, right, if they decide G1 to like push together, right, that's okay because they could just drop back. Like they know that the team is going to be pushing this fight, so they would typically have like another player kind of like on the flank or someone just creating disruption and opportunity for them. But also too, looking at the kills that we had, I believe, I think, Druk, he was popping off. Manny, he was slaying as well. I mean, every single person on Native were crushing it that game. I'm actually curious to see what the damage numbers were because, man, it was disgusting.
Yeah, they were doing so much work across the map. But yeah, you did highlight that strategy. And I want to reiterate how well that was executed there by Native. It was just so well played. They just decided, hey, we have these two different fronts of attack, one here by sandbags or garage and one by tower, and whatever side wins, we push the ball towards.
Something I also want to give SoulSnipe a lot of credit for. You see his average time there, alive, 34 seconds. At the end of that game, SoulSnipe was in a real bad spot over at the garage big door, and he somehow managed to stay alive long enough and was just pulling attention in his direction, and that's when Manny and Taulek picked up those kills. So I really think you got to give credit where credit's due to SoulSnipe there for really like keeping himself alive, valuing his life in an oddball game, because a lot of players would have a tendency to just throw it away. You respawn, who cares? But playing your life, so important there. SoulSnipe did a great job.
Yeah, and I think it's the important part too is playing your life when
playing your life effectively.
Yeah, playing effectively, but also there are different opportunities when you can and can't do that.
Yeah.
If your team has control across the map, absolutely do that. Sometimes your team doesn't have control across the map. Sometimes you have to go for those trades. Sometimes you have to say, all right, I'm not going to be able to buy enough time for one of my teammates to help me or for someone to get an effective move off their spawn. I need to go for this two-shot melee. I need to get some sort of trade across the map. And so understand the times that you're running away, buying extra time, and how and when to use that effectively. Yeah,
knowing how and when really to value your life there, right? It's a great point you bring up. But if you're just joining us, you see the series layout. I mean, for Native Red, when they pick up the win, they pick up the win. 4-0 on King of the Hill Streets, a 2-0 on Oddball Livefire. But we've seen this song and dance before between these two teams. This could very well be a Livefire Slayer closeout for this series. But for Native Red, they don't want to allow that to happen. They don't want to give G1 this opportunity to get back in the game. And given how they play their King of the Hill and even how they approach their oddball too, I really do like where Native Red is as far as like this Aquarius CTF goes. If they play with that same kind of consistency and aggression, G1 is going to have a lot of questions to have answered here pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, Oddball and CTF are completely different game modes, obviously, but there is a lot of overlap between those mechanics. At some point, it's all right, which way are we pushing this flag or oddball? How are we escorting it properly? How are we making sure no one can flank in and disrupt this? And I felt like we saw better mechanics out of Native Red in that respect. They had a better understanding of how and where to cut off angles, how and when to push that objective.
Yeah, and Manny's already going to start things off with a kill of his own, as well as Taulek here. Is G1 trying to scramble to find some options at the beginning of the game. But nothing quite yet, though. It's going to be Druk on the prowl. I feel like everyone's BR in Native Red has just been killing it too, man. Like, they're not missing a single shot in every single fight they get into, and they course correct so well as well. But look at that. I mean, Druk, he saw the opportunity. He saw that he could push that one, had that thruster, went back over. That's going to be a camo pickup as well for Native Red, and you cannot discredit how important those power-ups are going to be if Native Red continue to maintain control of it.
Yeah, that camo is important, but I still think that G1 made the best out of that scenario. Somehow they were able to force their way back in that base, kind of numbers down, only one angle, and get those trades on their flag. So I think the damage has been done there from G1 side to effectively stop this flag and put themselves on neutral ground. But just as I say that, looks like Native Red pick up a kill and pull that flag and get a little further over towards P1.
Hey, man, you know, it's all those little interactions that matter so much, and that is going to be a potential flag cap here, but it's going to be so close to the base. It is going to get picked up now. Is Druk looking to support his teammate here. Actually, yeah, does manage to get the frag out of that one. That's going to be Manny as well. Manny on the prowl here, and so close. Yes, it is, but they've lost a lot of bodies in the process.
That is all four down for it, and was it worth it? We'll have to ask them in about 15 seconds because Bubu Dubu is flying across the map with a counter cap of his own. All that damage and all for naught as G1 tied this right back up.
Just goes to show you, man, you think you get that first flag cap in, but it doesn't really matter, though. If you end up losing everyone in between, then you could just get the counter cap. G1 now have the momentum in their favor. A double kill here for Bubu. Dubu knows exactly where the next target is going to be located. That guy is going to be weak in the knees. He's out of there. A killing spree to boot, looking for another one as well. He's got the support there from his teammates, and even though he gets killed, he has done so much damage, and that is going to be a big response from G1 as they go up 2-1.
Just so fast moving that flag across the map. I guess ultimately if you have all the players dead and you move that objective fast enough, you don't got to worry about cutting off every angle and overthinking how you're going to escort it. Yep. So I love those plays from G1, zero hesitation. They realized they had the kills, they had the numbers, and just moved real quick with that. And it was a different player each time with that flag. Yeah. That's the important part. It's not relying on just one specific member of G1 to do the dirty work. Bubu Dubu, arguably their best player, was the one to pick up that flag and run all the way back for the first one.
Yeah, I also think too, it's another thing to note. Like we even saw it in the Slayer game, the way that G1 they open up these opportunities for their teammates, where they'll play the flank game, they'll be a little sneaky around in certain areas, right? And that kind of is exactly what happened in that situation too, right? Where you end up having this camo player that everyone has to take care of, because if you don't, then it could end up being real bad for you. But a big stick there for SoulSnipe is going to keep the drive alive here as the flag is going to get pulled out now. G1, of course, looking to bring this one right back in. They have the players left alive. Native Red down with 2, and maybe we can start to see some more progress here for G1 as they've gotten those frags down, and they're keeping them in a respawn cycle quite nice, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and one thing that was interesting too there from Bubu is he was like, I just need to make sure I return this right now. Like, many other times you can maybe get greedy, start to take up more ground, go over towards car 3 or pink 3 and just worry about damage. But with how Native have been so sneaky throughout this game and throughout this series, you have to get those flags back in your base as soon as you can. Even that happened the very first flag cap, if you recall, Golden Boy. I was like, oh, this flag, they're back on even footing. No big worry on this one. But Native were somehow able to rally it back.
Beautiful battle here happening. Great support by Devin. Taking out Druk. Did not allow him to be more of a problem than what he already was. Camo's going to be up as well for a grab here in a moment. Taulek's having one hell of a game too, but the flag has been capped, and just like that, right under your noses is 3-1 here. G1, they're looking to close this one out, force this game 5 potentially.
And they also have that flag out once again, but wisely decide not to overcommit, try and go for some plays.
Another camo.
DevoNator's getting that camo, and let's see what he can do with this. He has everything he needs. He has the heat wave. He has the camo. He should have a little bit more information where players are at. Ooh. I like this play. There's so many times where people just assume when they have camo that they're not going to get spotted out. but we're at the highest level of Halo here. People see every little detail out there. You can't really slip by in a one-on-one or in-front confrontation with Camo.
Yeah, and I'd rather get the information and throw the body, you know, willy-nilly in that situation, right? Like, get info. Info is always going to be your most powerful tool in Halo. The heat wave is going to be there for the cleanup. That's going to be the assist. Devin does have the target there, and even though, you know, it's kind of an even footing for all the players in G1, they're all contributing equally here. I just like the way that they're playing this one out, right? They're kind of making Native Red sweat a little bit in this. 1 kill, 2 kills. They're constantly keeping them in a situation where Native Red can't really take a fight with all 4 players.
They couldn't, and however, Manny broke them out of that setup. What was happening right there was G1, they took over Native Red's util side and was going to start to force the spawns from Native Red over in the fridge. Manny flew on over towards util, got a clutch double kill, and really broke them out of that, and is now allowing Druk and the rest of his roster to move this flag across the map.
All right, well, let's see if they're going to be able to make this progress. So a big run is happening here as Native Red could put flag number 2 on the board. Half shield's there, but there it is. He's going to punch it down, and we're only down by 1 if you're a Native Red fan here. But for G1, they just got to keep that pressure going. But perhaps Native Red have found this second gear for the latter part of this game. A good trade as well. It's going to be 2 down here for both sides of the field.
Manny wants to grab that camo, but does not want to give up a random death here. So just trying to fight, trying to do whatever he can here. Looks like that's going to be a camo burnt. I think that was snagged right there in top center there from Bubu or DevoNatoR. And that's now going to be 3 down for G1. So that camo came at a cost. And here we go with Manny pulling us towards util. The safest area to pull it, especially if you have control of top center and force the other team to spawn over in the fridge.
Oh, but the pressure's coming in though here. Manny's going to turn around to try and address it. Does manage to get the kill with the sidekick. No, but the nade's going to stop him here. Does he have a teammate to back him up?
A little bit of a flag fumble there, you have to argue as well. And now we are going to have an opportunity for G1 to get over some top control and get a chance to push in towards the flag. And there it is already. You see that member of G1 Heat Wave over on the bridge, putting up damage. There's DevoNatoR putting the pincer over towards car 3. That's 3 down. And I wouldn't be surprised if that flag pulled. It is already. That is going to be DevoNatoR finishing this flag off. I didn't
look at the way that they dumped it off to Devin, right? They're like, hey, we're going to go and handle this situation.
Hey,
Devin's
dude,
like
while
on
you're
the run.
down to recovering the flag, you mind taking this too if you're going to make a trip on over there?
And it worked out for them because they're going to be up 4-2 now. After a great response from Native Red, G1 have managed to find what they needed in that engagement, and it really just came from the fact that they could not make the progress with the nades over by the sizzle sticks, or sorry, with the flag over by the sizzle stick side of the map. So this overall now has kind of just, I think for G1, they know that they have them. They smell blood in the water, and they just got to pounce on this opportunity to force this one into a game 5.
And look at this, 3 down. You know what G1 does well, and they move that flag fast. Unfortunately, that one hits the ceiling a little bit. That one gets me all the time as well. I hate when I hit the flag against the ceiling. So this flag run, I would consider to be done.
Yeah.
You need to stop and slay. Sometimes you get that just even minor pause in a flag run. You just need to take a step back and say, all right, let's regroup. Let's not try to force this, because anytime you try to force a flag cap, you can have member after member fall,
but it's working
and that
out,
can open up a counter cap. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yes, they have it far, but this is not a comfortable position right now for this flag cap to go in.
Oh, and I thought Dev probably thought he was going to be able to get the kill there with the heat wave, but it didn't work out for him. Bubu Dubu sees the flag right in front of him, can't go for it there. Oh no, but the dynamo nades are just going to light him up, and there's not really much you could do out of that one there. And I think you're right, Dave.
I don't know what to do in that situation there. I didn't pay much attention in school. You're supposed to stop, drop, and roll during the electrical part. I don't know, but either way, Bubu was in trouble, and he was like, I will sacrifice himself, get a flag touch if possible, and it did not pay off in that sense. But we now have G1 on the back foot. Gonna play a little defense to try to get out of their base, because Native had the util. They know how to push it, and here comes the first kill. That's an overextension from Swish.
Oh,
that's going to be a double kill on Squallaye, and this is going to be a flagpole coming out from Native.
Yeah, and now's the time. You got to strike with the iron. Is going to be as hot as possible here. Druk is patrolling top mid. Beautiful shots there with the commando. Spawns are going to be coming in. I believe it's going to be from the fridge side there, too, so the challenge is coming over toward P, but at this point now, this is looking pretty solid here for Native. This could be flag cap number 3 as they're marching together. But Dave, I mean, at this point in time, if you are G1, you're a little sweating just a little bit here because you're getting close. It's 3-4.
Yeah, especially in that position where they felt like they had a good flag run previously. You need to be able to shake that off and look at this unrelenting aggressiveness coming out of Druk and this native red roster. This is so tough because all G1 wants right now is they want to say, we want you out of our base. We want to just go to a neutral game fight. Like, let's get in the middle. Let's fight there. Let's not do all this base trading stuff.
Yeah, well, Camo player is going to throw a spanner in the works there, potentially. That's going to be a 2-shot beatdown for Manny. They know that the Camo's going to be in the back of the base now. They have to handle this. That's why you're going to see players starting to push this one out. If Manny stays alive, because he's going to get the support here. Big kill there. He's actually going to stay up inside of the base. This could very well be flag cap number 4 at the rate that this is going at, Dave.
But like what G1 did, it looks like they're kind of pushing out of their base. Instead of recommitting all the way back, it looks like Devonator gets a double. And that's going to be all 4 down. Also flag move across the map. I was saying how G1 decided not to go back to their own base. Look at that bubu with the counter offensive, bringing this flag back. That's going to be the 5th and final flag going in for G1.
Wow, and folks, we are going to a game 5 here in this series. I had a feeling. These two teams, every time they play against each other, it's always the distance between them. But that was just unreal, because it's one thing if you just want to keep pushing it, keep forcing the fight. You know, they probably would have won that out, right? They had the comfort, but you take that risk. Whereas in this instance, G1 decided, you know what? Let them have the base. We'll just go ahead and grab flag and then frag out as we make our way across.
I was going to say G1 reacted perfectly. Sometimes it's really easy to get in that mindset when it's only down the last couple minutes of a flag game. You're up by a cap. It's like, all right, I guess we just got to hold them off. Don't let them cap.
Yeah.
But what would have happened in that last instance if G1 fully committed back to their own base is they would not have had angles across the map to help them get out of their base. They wouldn't have shots across the map to kill anyone on their flag. They would have all funneled in through small locations, gotten killed, and if they lose that fight, the flag's a guaranteed
and then you're
cap
tied up, and you're right back at the
if
square
you win
one,
the fight, what do you have? You stop them from pulling the flag, and now the opposing team still likely has upper positioning over on Pink and Car. So it's just really an all-or-nothing play going back to be a full defensive roster. So I liked how they didn't just turtle up. Instead, they pushed on out. They got some extra ground across the map, and they didn't need to force that 5th flag pull, but that's how aggressive they got. You know, in fact, I was going to say that the ideal scenario in my eyes would have been take over Pink, take over Car, just have that extra angle to shoot across the map and just hold some higher ground.
Dude, Devin has been having a banger of a series, man. He dropped 23 this time around. He has been contributing significantly. Of course, you know, credit where credit is due, man, right? Like, Native Red tried to bring this one back, and they got dangerously close. It would have worked out for them, but just some smart thinking, really, from G1. And that really, I think that is what you see a lot of the players that are playing out, you know, in open bracket and stuff. That's what separates those players from these guys, right? Because it's really about understanding when something isn't particularly working out in your favor and then readjusting on the fly. Being able to make those macro and micro calls that will lead to, you know, results like that. Like, most players would just continue to just bang their head against a wall and just try and force them out of their base. But you have to be smart about those moments there. But yeah, I mean, Devin is having a great series so far, and I'm just excited to see him in the rest of the tournament because I think he's kind of got a hot hand here.
Yeah, Devin's just been playing exceptionally well so far throughout the series and today. The one thing that you highlighted there too from G1 is I thought they did a great job of finding the weakness in Native and getting those counter caps, those overextensions. They capitalized on almost every single one.
Yeah.
Where if they overextend, they gave too many kills during the flag run. They already had some player on the opposite flag ready to pull it, or they stopped the flag at the flag stop point and pulled it off. So yeah, I just felt like 3 of the 5 flag caps were in response to Native mistakes or punishing Native making mistakes.
Yeah, no, very true, very true. And I think that's part of the reason why, you know, you're seeing these big performances here. I mean, you can see the stats, and actually interesting thing here, right? You see the damage difference. The 1260 for Devin, it's basically damage, you know, input versus damage taken. So Dev positive on damage taken, meaning this guy is out there just putting in shots as much as possible and contributing.
Whereas we got Taulek says, hit me again.
Hit me again, baby.
Bring it. He's
Don't
like,
want it.
I like this. He's like, all right, dude, I want to hit you
He's
again,
like, okay,
dude.
man. You're like, relax for a minute. But of course,
I don't want to hit you.
But of course, with these two teams, Dave, it only makes sense that we go to Game 5. Live Fire Slayer. And right now, I have no idea who walks away with this win. I was convinced that I thought we were going to go to 5, but not the way that we went. So now I'm just in it for the ride, baby.
And let's see if we're going to see that same start before. Taulek looks on over towards green, sees nobody, realizes there must be a massive push going on over towards OS. That's going to be 2 down for Native Red. A huge fight for that sniper rifle, and that's going to be 3 down for each team. Sniper and Heatwave in the hands of Druk, the most important person alive on the map right now. Let's see what he's going to do with it.
Yep, he does get access to it. Sees a red player over toward green side. Actually, the spawns are going to be over toward Nest as well. But I love this pressure that they're putting from dummies into secret as well, right? Because you know now at this point, if you're G1, they have the snipe, they have the heat wave. It's going to be really hard for them to try and push it. So they have to get their wins where they can and just try and stay away from Druk until the moment is right to strike it and really force him in a bad situation. Kind of like what we're seeing right now, though. If they can actually push from behind, but there it is, the response. And there's actually that push I was talking about.
Yeah, they were trying to out-rotate it, and now they're forced in position to fight this off. Now, even though we've seen both these weapons still in the hands of Druk, this actually worked out just well for G1. They have been able to just trade out slays, trade out this ammo. It hasn't been super effective. It hasn't been able to like get in a position where Druk was able to set up the snipe in a comfortable standoff position and pick off after pick off and get those slays. Instead, it's been just running for his life and just trying to take some pot shots here and there.
If you're playing to just keep the weapon out of your opponent's hand, you're not really going to get the same kind of effectiveness there. That was just a really, really smart play by G1. But I do want to give credit, though, to Native because, despite all of that, despite them kind of being chased around the map, they still managed to keep this one tied, right? They're contending against each other on equal footing time and time again. And watch out for this overshield because it's going to be coming up in a few seconds here. This is going to be where this next big battle takes place, Dave.
Yeah, we're going to see how this team decides to set up for it. I was going to say, obviously, G1 would like to have someone over at Sandbags. And it looks like Squallaye does get over towards Sandbags, and that's going to be G1 walking away with this OS. But how effective is it going to be? Right now, they only have a 1-kill lead, and it looks like Bubu wants to chase this down, but is he going to fall into a trap? And there's the first grenade, there's the second grenade, and there's probably a third.
Yep, he's actually getting pushed out, and you're right. All he was able to do with that overshield was be able to secure himself 1 frag out of it. Now, granted, he does kind of put the onus there, on the opponents to have to try and respond to it, but, you'd like to be able to see just a little bit more out of that OS.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a difficult spot because, Bubu realized, all right, this thing's going to diminish. I know there's someone who's one shot around here, right around this corner. Let's get this finish while I can. But, yeah, it's just so tough because it's so close yet so far away.
13-14 with that kill from Manny, SoulSnipe and Manny, as a matter of fact. Good response, though, keeping this one very close. Expect nothing less from both squads, G1 and Native Red. These guys have been squaring off so many times in the past. Druk's going to pass off the sniper there. Smart play because he had the heat wave.
Yep, has the heat wave. Feels like his team has a bit more of a setup this time. Now, this is going to play out drastically different, in my opinion, compared to last time. And look at that. Already 2 kills picked up there. Almost a third one. Make that 3 down for G1. And this is because Native Red are actually set up this time. Previously, as we talked about before, when they had both those weapons, they were running around the garage. They were running for their lives. They could not get set up in a strong position. Whereas now, they're spread out across enough. They're not going to get surprised by anyone from G1 just randomly sneaking up right next to their power weapon. Instead, they have so much more map control, so much presence that they can take a shot or two like that, and their life is not at risk. Taulek's not going to die immediately here. Look at this. He can even check a couple of the angles he's even poking out. He has the comfortability to take a few other fights.
And another thing to note here as well is that Taulek, he's not just throwing away these shots and looking for them because he knows that the sniper rifle is going to be so important for this fight right here, but he misses the critical shot, and that is going to give the overshield to his opponents here. Let's see if they're able to use it. It's a little bit better than what we saw last time. Oh no! Manny with the back whack on Squallaye. That is going to just dash the dreams there of G1. They did everything right, and all it was a back whack, Dave.
I mean, I know we're near Disney, but I wasn't ready for this roller coaster, GB. That was just, a back and forth from Native as far as making great plays, making, not so great plays, and then making a great play. It started off with them spreading out, covering their power weapon controller, then followed up by not collapsing in on the overshield fast enough. They had the positioning, they didn't have the timing enough. You have to wonder whether it's due to positioning, specific scenario, or coach not giving them the heads up that they needed. And then lastly, just canceling out that overshield with a quick back smack.
Yeah, you love to see it if you are native red, but if you're G1, you're kind of pissed that ended up happening that way. But G1's got to try and find to see if they can isolate these battles and win these 1v1s. Granted, native red have been just slaying their hearts and minds out, but it is so hard. He tries to hit him with the sauce there too, but it doesn't work out, especially when you're going to be damaged so much here. Of course, bubu dubu with the rest of G1. They're bringing this one back. They're only down by 2. I mean, this one was a 5-game lead for native red, and G1 have managed to wrestle this one back. They have to collapse on these players at the back river here.
And here they are. They have the height advantage, and that's not a good trade there as Swish gets that melee. Bubu trying to back down desperately, keeping his tower position, but he knows this player's just around. And just like this, even though they know someone's above them, this is so difficult. They have to find some higher ground, or they need to retreat immediately. It looks like they kind of opt for both. Does the sneaky jump over to top tower. Swish 5's winning an uncharacteristic fight over against Druk. And this is just trade after trade, and everything is coming online. Overshield coming up. Somehow devoNatoR able to snag that. Sniper also up. Bubu more worried about the fights here on tower.
This is where I get a little concerned that the game might start to run away from one of these two teams here. And if you're looking at the odds, it's actually pretty solid here for G1. A solid melee there is going to land on the SoulSnipe, giving him a big kill there. 31-31, so close, but Manny again with the heroics. This guy has been lights out this series, but the instant response from G1, this is just, you're right, Dave, it's a roller coaster. It's just back and forth. We're tied up, but I do like that G1 have this sniper in the tower position. That's going to slow down this game significantly unless native red has other plans and they have a way to try and force him out of this spot.
No, I think this is going to be the first time we're actually seeing G1 get set up with this, but unfortunately, a couple members of G1 just getting picked off across the map. You got to wonder where Devin and Bubu were at when they got picked off in those situations. So Squallaye trying just to buy time, knows where these players are at bottom tower, but the collapse is coming. And here they come. Whoa. That's going to be 3 down for G1. And an ineffective sniper there for G1, unfortunately. They were not able to get set up with it like we've seen from native red.
Yeah, now it's going to be SoulSnipe who gains possession of the sniper. Still, though, only going to be 2 frags separating these 2 squads. One player's tucked away inside of green. This could be an isolated fight for them to take 2 players. Scratch that, as a matter of fact, but never mind that. Squallaye is able to get the frag onto Manny. 39-38. Only a few remaining. Just the sniper has just not been landing, but like they're on target.
They were getting those body shots. You're getting some of those body shots, and so right there, they're making the push right after. So I think that was a great play by native, realizing, all right, they got somebody weak over near green. They got someone weak in tunnel. Let's push. Let's see what we can secure here for a couple kills. And it looks like it didn't really end up being any sort of easy kill. So surprisingly, somehow G1 able to keep this game 1 kill difference, even though they did not have any real good snipes so far out throughout this game.
Oh man, we're getting down to the wire, Dave. The overshield's been picked up by G1. Again, this is kind of the similar situation for what we saw before. Hopefully you don't get back whacked out of nowhere here in this situation. 3 players going to be tucked away back river here by tower side. 4 scratch chat, as a matter of fact. They're going to try and work together out of this. They also have the green gun too. Swish is going to be the first line of defense to try and resolve this, to try and force them back here, right? But this overshield is going to slowly start to go away. Going to slowly start to dwindle as Swish is looking to get right in their face. That's a back whack. That's going to be another kill there here. But native red are going to try and trade this one out. 44-43.
And Swish knows there's other players nearby. He knows it's too good to be true. He's like, where are these at the tower? And this is going to be the first lead that we're seeing for G1 in quite some time. Taking it at the time when it matters the most. 46-45 for G1. We are neck and neck here, GB.
And I think Devin ended up getting the sniper there, potentially. I don't know who got it. Yes, it is going to be Devin who has snipe. One player's going to be located inside of the nest. Manny's going to be down low, but he's going to get picked off. 48-46, though. 2 kills separating them. 49. G1 are right there. They fell short last time against native red, but this could very well be the opening here. And you're looking at the game-winning shot is going to be in devoNatoR's hands. But native red do not want to give it to him, but instead it's Squallaye who swoops on in, picks up his 12th kill, the 50th for G1, and they win in this grueling BO5 to open up things here at Pool B in HCS Orlando.
And what a huge relief there for G1. I mean, that's such a big match to take off. Very first match of the day on Friday, and what a series.
What a game, dude. I knew it. I knew it. These two teams, they have been so exquisite all year long. So seeing them in the group, it's very hard not to get excited as a Halo fan. You see these up-and-coming teams, these up-and-coming players, these guys who have been killing it all infinite long, and just the stories of both squads. It has been fantastic to watch. But the day belongs to G1 as they get that 50-46 win. But look at the way that this played out, Dave. You couldn't have asked for a tighter game to close it.
No, I mean, that was so back and forth, and somehow G1 able to play from what I consider the back foot most of that match.
Yeah.
The time that they did not really have sniper or heat wave control or setup control, they were able to fight from that back/neutral ground and bring that game, and especially, you know, win at the very end through that last trade or that last kill.